to doing a Jaguar Mark 1 by 1. So this is Grant Williams' Jaguar. I've done it as a painting, but I haven't done it as a drawing, and I haven't done a Jaguar Mark 1 yet. So it's only right to do this Jaguar Mark 1 because it's the smokiest, fastest one that I know. So hopefully Grant will be able to join us very shortly on the internet. Just making sure I've got everything ready. Oh yeah.
How are you doing? Okay.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Surviving, as they say.
Survive. Yes, literally. Yeah. It's a weird old time, isn't it? It's a weird old time at the moment.
It is. Yeah, you are right.
So we've met a number of times, haven't we? We've met at shows and events, last couple of years particularly. And I remember the conversation we first had was basically I was creating a Mark II Jaguar, I believe, and you basically went, "You're painting the wrong car."
Yes.
Yeah, and you're like, "You need to do a Mark 1, and you need to do my Mark 1. So I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And then you're like, "Well, it's buy one," and I was like, "Huh?" So buy one Mark 1 Jag is the Jaguar that you race.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Perfect, brilliant. Thank you, Grant. So, and we've got the right day now as well because I managed to get the wrong day and everything. So I wrote it down here on my desk. Grant at 8.
I did see that. Yes, I see that.
I made sure you're in. So how we met? We were at a show. You said I painted the wrong Jaguar. I said, okay, send me photos of the correct Jaguar, and I ended up creating it at a very random event near Shelsley Walsh, and then finished it off at Donington Historic whilst you were racing there as well.
Yeah, the car broke actually. Yeah, I snapped the half shaft.
Yeah, but you were at the very pokey end of the grid, weren't you?
Yes, I was trying my best. Yeah, so we used it as a bit of a test session we did, but it was just one of those things.
But you're probably the most positive person I know. Like when your car breaks when you're leading, and you go, well, it's racing, happens. So
it does happen. What do? You just got to get on with it, and just that's all you can really sort it out. Just try and fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you've watched any of the other videos I've done, but so basically I'm going to try and draw this image of your Jaguar, and I'll create the entire outline with a continuous line. So I won't take the pen off the paper until I've finished that outline, and then I'll work back into it, and using all of this stuff, I'll create your Jaguar.
Okay.
In about 45 minutes. It's about 45 minutes to do it. And then, during that, you'll tell me about how you got into racing, about the car, the history of the car, and some of the races that you've been involved with. Obviously, you've been down at Goodwood, Festival Speed, you've been down at Revival, Donington Historic. You've raced pretty much everywhere with this car, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, because I'm very lucky and fortunate, to get invited to all these events. If somebody offers me to do something, I jump at the chance.
And normally you kind of do it sideways with lots of smoke as well, don't you?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time looking out the passenger window.
And normally this cloud of smoke is normally what is follow you soon after you or with you. So the smoke is definitely going to be there. Right. So I'm going to start. I will start drawing and start waffling, and then you can take it right back. How did you get into motorsport? Because you run a garage as well.
Yeah, a small little general car repairs, diagnostics, and tires and stuff like that. It's in a small little village. It's an old petrol station basically, but yeah, that's my daily job. My family's been doing it racing since early 50s.
Cool.
My grandfather, that was my father, and then obviously my uncle, which is my dad's two brothers, and they all raced Mark 1s.
So how did Mark 1 become part of the part of the family, as it were?
Well, they started doing club. They wanted club racing basically, and at the time, they were the quick cars basically to buy. I mean, and if you could afford it, that's the car you went and bought. And Granddad, he went off. He was doing it. And then my father, come of age, he wanted to get into it as well. So he bought his first Mark I. He smashed that up. So then he bought the Mark II. But Granddad was been racing. He was racing early Mark I. And what happened was when he was racing it, 287 JPK, which is by one, beat him at one of the meetings.
Right.
And he wasn't impressed with that.
He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy.
No, he was not happy at all. So, and then he seen an advert in the Autosport magazine, and it was for 287 JPK. By one was up for sale. It was the factory was selling the car. It was up for £1,650 back in 1962.
Right. I mean, that was quite. I imagine that was quite a bit of money back then. That wasn't like. That wasn't.
It was. Yeah. Today's money's about 160 grand.
Wow.
Yeah. So he jumped in the car, shot up to the factory, and that's when he got to know Lofty. And put his money down and said he wanted the car there and then.
So is that up in Coventry where the car was stored?
Jaguar factory, Coventry. Yeah.
So
it was the competition department.
Okay, so they had like a Jaguar racing department back then as well.
Yes, they did. Yes.
So
yes, and that's what it all started off. And then over the years, when Grandad was racing the car, if it was any modifications that was done, or the factory had a new upgrade for the car or something like that, it would go back to them for the upgrade.
Oh right, so it kind of stayed as almost like, even though it was privately owned, it kind of got the factory upgrades as well.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, basically yes.
Okay, so how long did that go on for? Was that just an ongoing relationship whilst the Mark I was still?
Years and years. Apparently. So Dad telling the stories, but he used to go up there with the Land Rover and the 90, and back in the day it was the factory boys. They knew Grandad's Willie, and then whenever Willie would turn up, everything they would cut some stuff, bits and pieces, cylinder heads and stuff like that, and they'd all come out of the woodwork and say like, Willie, I got a head for you, I got a door for you, I got a wing, I got, and it was pocket money for them.
So they kept on kind of maintaining the car and giving the latest bits for it and whatnot. So how did it? So did it then kind of become like a family heirloom? How did it become part of the family as such?
Well, that's what back in the day, the car, even though we paid a lot of money for the car, they weren't really that special because they were just another car. They were reduced. They weren't used anymore. The Mark II version came out, so they just sold them on, and there was no real sort of value to the car then at the time. And then Grandad just raced it right through the 60s. Eventually he retired, and we emigrated to Canada. My family did.
Right.
And at that point, Dad had built a Mark II Jag, but he was heavily modified. I was really mid-mounted engine, fiberglass doors, wings, bonnet, 15-inch wide back, wheel slicks on it.
So what year was that then? What was that? We're talking like what era we're talking now?
Yeah, I was 76 when he emigrated to Canada.
So kind of late 70s, so lightening of these cars was happening back then.
Yeah, back then basically it was heavily modifying the cars, and the whole family was. But Grandad's car was just sort of left away in the garage, and it was sort of rotting away in the shed. Right. He stopped racing, and there was no real interest in doing anything with the car. And then I think it was late 80s, early 90s. There was an article in the magazine. Whatever happened to 287 JPK by one? And of course it disappeared for 20 years. Then just sat in the shed. So we decided to pull it out of the shed and start to restore the car.
Right.
And get it ready.
So
and then,
it remained a race car, but it was just like you were just like, right, it's a Mark 1, not Mark 2, but we'll keep hold of it, and then
because the Mark 2s were a bit quicker, because the Mark 2s had a 3.8 engine then, and we could, and at the time then the 4.2 engines were available, so he was dropping 4.2s in the car then instead of the 3.8 engine.
Right.
So like I said, and it was, Dad had moved on to wanting the cars to be a lot lighter and a lot faster again. But to do that, he was almost cutting the car right up to nothing, like, you know.
Right, there's the basic outline of a Mark 1 Jag. You see that?
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
So there's a very basics of the image. I just love what I really enjoyed as part of this project is classic cars really just work, and you can see you can always see like how the designers were like, oh yeah, that's that and that's that shape. That's really nice. So so you pulled it out of the garage, and did you do any? Did you start to do any modification to it, or did you want to keep it as it was?
We wanted to keep it totally as totally original as possibly was. So it was just basically things like the sills that rotted away and stuff like that. And the car was solid in main parts, but just the normal parts, they rusted away. So we just started to pull that apart. We stripped it back to bare metal, started from scratch, and just rebuilt the car back up basically. And the idea was we was building it for the 1998 Goodwood Revival.
Right, okay.
And I was, the year before that, 1997, I was racing my black Mark II Jag, and I won the Bridgestone Championship in it, and as the youngest driver to win it, basically.
Okay.
So I done that, and then Dad done the 1998 Revival with the car. And I wasn't interested in going. I was a bit young at the time, and he said, "You want to go?" I said, "Look, no, Dad, I'd rather go partying." So, and then when he came back, he just said, "Listen, son, Goodwood is nothing like we've ever done before. You've got to be there. It's unbelievable." And I think he didn't do too bad. I think he qualified third or something like that, and he finished fourth in the first revival or something like that.
So I mean, who was? So in terms of drivers, who was on the grid back then, like in '98? What were the names that were on the grid?
It was Jerry Marshall, it was Sterling Moss, people like that. A lot of the top sports car drivers in his day. Derek Bell was racing against him. So he had it was quite a big grid, and then like I said, the '99 Revival came along, and then I went off to do that. And that, it really basically started from that, basically, because I started the race, it was practice, and then qualifying. So I qualified on pole, and I'd never been to the circuit before, never done a test, and it was the first time of me driving by one.
Right.
And we had a perspex rear window in the car, but that's how it came from the factory, so we didn't think anything of it, so we just left as it was. But then there was a complaint made before the race, so because it wasn't original, it wasn't a glass window, where they gave me a 10-second penalty.
Even though that was how the car came from the factory?
That's how the car came, but we didn't bother arguing, so okay, fair enough, then, I wasn't too pleased about it, because it put me back to 15th on the grid.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, all the hard work I'd done, it was just sort of wasting a short period of time.
Yeah.
So it started to rain at the beginning of the race, and Jerry Marshall was then on pole. And I remember starting the race, thinking to myself, what am I going to do from 15th? And it was really, really raining at this point then. So we're going along, a green flag goes, up we go. And everybody was sort of driving on the circuit, sort of in the middle of the circuit.
Uh-huh.
They wasn't going to the outside of the track. And I was sort of, nipping through all the traffic. And then I got halfway around the track. And the next thing I know, I'm Jerry Marshall's on the left-hand side of me.
And like Jerry Marshall was like a legendary touring car driver, isn't he? Yeah, like he's a photo of him is in Brands Hatch Paddock Hill Cafe, the guy with the beer in his hand, that's Jerry Marshall.
That is Jerry Marshall. He was a really, really fun character. I raced him a couple of times in some of the club events, and I got on really, really well with him. Like, so he was always I was only young. I was about 20 at the time, and or 21. He was a real character. You know, I mean, he always made a laugh, always had a joke, always took the mick out of you. But I remember as I was passing him, he looked over at me, like, are you mental, son? What are you doing?
What's going on?
I looked back at him, thinking, what, are we racing or what? And then I kept looking, well, what are they doing? I kept thinking it was a black flag or it was a red flag, whether his race stopped or something, because I'd gone from 15th to 1st in half a lap. Well, I carried on going, and I come round back to the start finish straight, and I was 3 seconds in front of anybody. And then I remember, and at this point, then it was like a monsoon. And I remember going past my father on the pit wall, and he was sort of shouting at me, seriously, going like this, slow down. And I went past him, well, what are you on about, Dad? Don't worry about it, fine. There's nothing wrong. I'm okay. So, being cocky as I was, 3 laps later, I come to the end of the pit straight, hit a big pile of water, aquaplaned off, kissed the armglow barrier, and I bent the grill flat on the front of the Jag, and I ended up knocking the water pump belt off. And I was tamping with myself because I was stuck on the grass. I was in 4th gear trying to get back off the grass, doing 1 mile an hour. But the back wheels were spinning 120 mile an hour. And I got back into the circuit, and I think I carved my way back up to 3rd again. And I was just playing at this point. I was so excited. I knew I was going to win at that point, so I was just going every single corner. If I could get the car at the most stupidest angles, I was doing it. And the car at that point, now we got to the end of the race, because I had no water pump. It was 140 degrees in the engine, and I got to I think I finished 6th overall after another spin again, but I was a quick spin on just before the chicane. And I remember coming around, they were queuing to get back off the track, and the car just was so tight, the engine was, it's basically cut out there and then on the track. And I was pressing the starter button, it was just going doom, doom, it wouldn't turn over, it was that hot. And I thought, okay, right, so I got out of the car, and when I did, I couldn't believe it. There's thousands and thousands of people there, and they were screaming and cheering and just going crazy. And I thought, well, hang on, I didn't win the race or anything. At first I thought, well, who are they cheering at?
Were you like looking around going, is it Sterling? Is it Jerry? It can't be for me.
No, that's right. That's what I thought. I thought, well, who's around me? I looked around me, and it's just me sat there on my own. So we pushed the car back into the paddock, and I remember Jerry Marshall over on the other side of the paddock with his trophy and the wreath and everything like that. And there was just hundreds and hundreds of people around the car asking me for what I was doing, what was going on, how was I driving like that? And I just, I didn't think, well, that's just the way I normally drive. I'm always sideways in the car, and I'm having fun. So, and then I came home, and we all of a sudden, then it was in every autosport, every single come out of the chicane, splashing through the water with a big tidal wave off the tyres. And then from then on, I just had the invites to come back, so because I was entertaining the crowds. Yeah,
I mean, essentially, motorsport should, an element of motorsport is entertainment. It is, you want to see, a driver wrestling a car around a track, and Revival is the perfect kind of event for that as well. It's just proper cool racing. So
yeah, it is. You are right. Yeah, and I think a lot of the people sort of, I don't know, there's a lot of older generation actually come along and say hello to you and talk to you about it. I mean, I spend hours and hours at the car. I don't leave it. I always talk to people and I make them feel home and comfortable. And I think what it is everybody you speak to, they either had a granddad or uncle or auntie who had a Mark 1 or had a Jag, and they can relate to the car. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's so popular there.
Yeah, and it's so. I mean, the number plate, didn't Jag think, oh, we should keep hold of that? That just went with the car, or was that part of it, or how what's the story there?
Well, basically, what it was, John Coombs, the car was built for John Coombs of Guildford, okay, and he wanted to race it. He wanted to race it in the British Touring Car Championship at the time.
Yeah.
So he said, look, you in the Jag, when they said, right, okay, we build you this car and he'll come with them. We'll build them with aluminium doors, boot and bonnet, triple carburetors. It'll have wire wheels, disc brakes, and long-range fuel tanks. It'll be lightened off. So, but Jaguar said, look, you can't just have the only one. So we'll build more if they're required, if anybody else wants any more. So we built 7 altogether.
And and it's known as the Coombs Jaguar, isn't it?
Yes, it's the Coombs Jaguar. That's what it is. That's right. And then the number plate was used on several cars, but it was used on our car for the longest period of time, and that's how everybody sort of recognised it. And and then Roy Salvadori was the driver for Coombs.
Right.
And then it was like Peter Sargent raced the car as well for them. And I said after that point, then it was retired to the factory. But that's when the plate came along. It says John Coombs owned the plate, and it was part of his. It was his gimmick basically.
Yeah, but it's that old phrase of you race it on a Sunday and buy it on a Monday, isn't it? It's that the kind of touring car phrase that goes with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because my grandfather would drive the car to the circuit and drive it back home.
Really?
Yeah. I said, my family. I remember my father telling me a story once. He borrowed my uncle's Mark I, and they were on the way to Silverstone. It was my father, and then it was John, my other uncle, and Andy, my other uncle, and they were all 4 in the car on the way to Silverstone on the old Chepstow Road. And my father was he was sat in the back. It was early in the morning. Grandad was motored along. Anyway, he hit a patch of black ice, spun the car, and flipped it and landed in a field. And of course, on the Jags, you got the old pepper pumps, and when they're out of fuel, they tick, they'll tick, tick, tick. And my father said, all he remembers the films. So every time you see the films back in the day, apparently the ticking was when they would explode. And he couldn't get out of the car fast enough. He climbed out of the window, ran across the field. He thought the car was going to explode. And all they did is they phoned up. They got the garage. Somebody come down with the old Land Rover. They pulled it back onto the wheels, jumped back in the car, kicked the roof back straight, and then drove on to Silverstone and carried on racing.
So the Jags the Jags have certainly been part of your family history. So following on from that first Goodwood Revival meeting, where did you go next? Did you just get the bug for it and you were like, right, I'm going to keep on driving like that, but at all the what were the next races for you?
Well, after that point, I didn't. After I won the championship with my old car, I didn't do a lot of racing after that. I was only doing the Revival stuff. So, I couldn't wait for the next year to go to Revival then. And then it was a case of you sort of had to up your game a bit because top driver were racing, and then they decided to do the 2-driver event. So I was sharing the car with Derek Bell.
Yep.
And it was the race was like a 45-minute race, and you had to come in and do a pit stop, swap drivers, and then carry on. And for years, Derek shared the car with me. And Derek Bell, 7-time Le Mans 24-hour champion.
Yeah, I was going to say, like mainly Bentley, wasn't it? Bentley and Porsche as well? Yeah,
Porsche. And he, again, a real gentleman. And then for years and years, we got to know him really, really well. And it was a case of, he said, look, I want to drive with Grant. And a fun fact, he's never won at Revival. He's only ever won in my car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in all the years he raced it, in the past and the present, he's never won apart from with me.
That's a good little fact. That is, I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. he said he shared the car for years and years and years, and then it started to change. Then that's when they started. Basically, it was 1960s cars, then 1950s cars, and for a long time I had to race. I was only racing every other year, and it was getting harder and harder and harder because I'm racing against all the top drivers in the country and Europe basically, and then having to try and beat them. Bear in mind, the last time I raced was 2 years previous at the Revival.
Yeah.
I didn't do practicing, any testing, because we couldn't afford it. Our funds were very tight, and our Revival weekend for us was astronomical.
So what happened then? So did the car stay in the garage? Yeah. So now obviously you're at Revival most years, or you've been at Festival of Speed and whatever. So was it just like as and when you had the budget, you could go and do Revival?
Yeah, basically. And the car would sit in the garage. There was no development to it. It would just sit there, and then a week before we'd pull it out of the garage. We'd sort of like give it a wash and a clean, check the oil, see if we can scrounge some tires up, and then off we'd go. And the one year I raced against was Ray Davis, in the 835, and that was a really exciting year to race because again I stuck in a hole, and first lap round the bonnet wasn't quite close; it popped onto the hinge, onto the safety catch. So I thought, no problem. First lap, I'll pull into the pits and I'll close the bonnet. So no problem, done that. Come to the pit, Dad jumped out, shut the bonnet down, checked it, fine, tight. Went to the end of the pit lane, and there was a procession of cars. So they held me till last. So I had to watch the whole grid go past me. And I remember coming from the first corner, I looked across the track, and I could see the front cars on the other side of the circuit. I'm almost a lap down at this point. So I just put my head down. Okay, right, you've got 11 laps now. Get your head down, just get on with it. And, I kept picking them off one at a time. And I caught Ray Davis up. And that was a proper Davis and Goliath weekend. And I thought I had one more lap left to go. And I didn't realise. And if I'd known, I would have took a more of a ballsy move into the chicane.
Yeah.
Knowing it was the last lap. And I remember coming out of the chicane after, coming from last back to first again, to second, sorry. And then seeing the checkered flag, I was absolutely pig sick. But it was a great, entertaining show, and I was sideways to every corner. But that's the thing. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see a car go off in the distance.
Yeah,
they want to see the thing.
Yeah. So has the car? Is that just your drive, or is it just how the car feels to you? How it needs to be driven? It's just like it is on the edge, and it looks like it's a battle to race it. What is it? A mixture of your driving style and the car, or is it just
it's a bit of both. I think people always say, "Well, why do you drive straight?" And I don't know. I've always drove faster when I'm going sideways because I'm carrying so much momentum into the corner. And if you look at the times and stuff like that, I am quicker when I drive sideways. Doesn't do my tires a lot of good. But I try and be the best I can because they do go off in the race. And that's, like I said to people, I mean, they don't want to see cars going. If it's leery and loud and smoke coming off it, that's what they come back to see. And that's what I get people sending me messages and videos and photographs and stuff over the years I've raced, and I feel a great sense of pride.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, and I say to people, it's basically for them. They're the fans. They enjoy it so much, and I'll never stop driving like that as long as I can keep hold of the car and handle the car.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was seeing some photos like from on the Goodwood, churning up the Goodwood lawn a little bit. I'm sure Lord March was, the Earl of Richmond now, isn't it? I'm sure he was delighted when you were giving the lawn a little bit of a once over.
Yeah, again, the Festival Speed. Again, I've been invited to that a few times. I 3 times. Fastest saloon car of the year. In the touring car section, and there's a great shot of me coming out of the second corner, and I spin basically right in front of the house. And what happened is the dashboard fell off into my arms. I lost the steering. So when it fell off, I managed to sort of grab the dash and chuck it behind my head and then carry it up the hill.
That's all part of the car. The car has clearly got character. So
it's definitely. I've lost wheels. I've snapped off gear shifters, gear levers. And if anybody knows club and racing or something like that, you will do what it takes to finish that race. And 1 year Revival, I snapped the gearbox clean in half, right way through the middle of the casing. We didn't have a spare gearbox, so my brother jumped in the car. He drove back to South Wales, picked an old gearbox, an old moss box that's been sat on his face for like 15 years, no cover on it. And in the meantime, the only way to take the 2-inch gearbox change on a Mark 1 or a Mark 2, you've got to take the engine out. But the other way you can do it is you've got to chisel the floor out of the car. So I'm there with a hammer and chisel, physically chiseling the actual tunnel of the car out of the car, and everybody looking inside in sheer horror of what I'm doing. And we get this old gearbox. We just quickly chuck some oil back in it, throw it back in the car. And Lee brings the MIG welder back with us as well, as we tack weld the tunnel back in the car, duct tape it all down to stop any fumes coming in, and I go up and I win the race.
No way.
I lost. It wouldn't stay in second gear. I had to hold it in second, and it wouldn't stay in fourth. So I had to basically drive around the track, drive one-handed, and hold it in the gear because the box was just an old standard car box.
So whilst you were taking the car apart, he was on the way back to Wales to pick it up, and then by the time you got it out, so the timing, you got ready for the race as such. We worked right, into the early hours of the morning to get it finished, but that's what club and racing is about. That's the mentality you have. You've paid to be there for that weekend, so you do whatever it takes to finish that race. And like I said, I've snapped half shafts. I've been there, welding gear axle cases back up just to finish the race. So in terms of some of your kind of favourite experiences, is Revival your favourite? And because you've done like Car Fest as well, haven't you, and various events. So what's been some of your highlights, or in terms of maybe some of the race other drivers you've met over the years, or what are the kind of the key memories you go? Oh, I'm so glad I was there at that time for that type of thing.
Goodwood's up on the top. That's one of my favourite things, and Festival Speed as well. But like the Car Fest shows, they're fun. They're just let your hair down if I had hair. Just enjoy myself, and that, again, I just take the car along. I try and I take like 14 sets of tires, and the trick is I try and blow them out on the line on the way back. Just for fun, pure fun. Just lots of smoke, loads of noise. And again, it's people look at the car and they go, "Oh, that's a pretty car," and then they see this thing tear assing down the straight, sideways in a straight line, and with the tires smoking everywhere. And the young kids enjoy it; they love it, and it's the unexpected again.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you can't expect it. You can't expect like lariness from like a new Mustang or whatever, but to see it from like a Mark 1 Jaguar, you don't expect, but it is a great thing to see.
Oh, it is, 100%. And it's only in the last few years, I've managed to pick up sponsorship. Like, my main sponsor is VR Motorsport. And Vince Randall, they run a prototype car, which I've been very, very fortunate to drive that, which is the Praga.
So as well as this, tell us about some of your other racing as well. So you do a bit of British, like it's kind of British GT, kind of it's GT Cup, isn't it?
Yes, it's the Brit Car Series basically, and then you're racing against all British GT cars in the series. But it's a mixture of everything. You've got smart cars racing in it. It could be anything and anything racing in there. And I met Vincent was next to me one year at Car Fest. And he, I was doing my bits of my show with a car, just messing around, having fun. And he said, "Can I come with you?" I said, "Yeah, no problem at all." So I took him for a ride in the passenger seat. And he said, I took him along. I done my thing. He saw you clearly handle a car. He said, "I'm not too bad," I said. And he offered me a go in his car at the Alton Park one weekend. So off I went. I never even sat in the car. I got to go in it. Never driven a full aero car or been on slicks before. But then I felt comfortable in the car. I really, really enjoyed it. And I put down some good times, I thought. And then he said, "Look, would you want to do something?" And it went from there. And I've absolutely, I love racing my car. But I think driving that is just such an amazing, unique experience. It's one of those cars that this is what I try to tell people. It's like a razor blade, okay? The car just wants to kill you all the time. You're either on the limit. If you go over it too far, not the limit, it will want to kill you. But I'm very, very lucky and fortunate to meet Vincent, and and have the opportunity to do what I do.
So is it? Are there any other cars that you get in as well? Is it the Prada and are there any other ones that you've had a little sample in?
I've had a go. I've done a race the 1 year in the Fast Forward series in an RS 500 with a Ford V8 in it, which was a good series of racing. Again, we brand new built car, full wings. The problem is that it had so much power and torque. Oh. And then it basically kept bloody snapping the half shaft. I'd stick it on pole every weekend. They wouldn't get to go to the race, then back home again. I'm lucky enough I get a race in E-Type.
Oh,
which I've had a few good races in that at the Autumn Classic at Castlecoombe.
Yeah.
Set a couple of seconds, and that thing's again. The lightweight E-Type is immensely fast. I'm hoping to race it some more this year with a bit of luck if we get to go racing again.
Yeah, so because you've done Silverstone Classic as well, and you've definitely done Donington Historic.
Yeah, I've done Donington Historic. Again, Donington is one of my favourite tracks. I love Craner Curbs. It's such a fast flowing track, and I've had good luck at Donington. And I've had a lot of bad luck at Donington as well. I've snapped a few half shafts. Led the race. The 1 year I thought I was in the bag. I'm in the lead by 12 seconds. And he's like, "What was it?" I had another lap to go. Snapped the half shaft. I'm free within the pits, and then seen the checker flag. But Snetterton, yeah, I like the circuit. Pembrey was my local circuit. Castlecoombe. Yeah, Silverstone Classic, would love to do.
So you're not doing Silverstone Classic yet?
No, I've never raced it. We did we was invited up for a show, and it was 60 years the touring cars.
Yeah.
So they had the car there for the weekend on show, and my girlfriend, Bryony, I gave her the opportunity to drive the car. So, or my fiance, I gave her the opportunity to drive the car, and she actually loved it. We done a manual lap, but she drove the car on Silverstone on the full circuit.
And did she drive it sideways as well or not?
I did tell her to push it, but she wouldn't. She said to me, "I don't know how you drive the car because the steering's so heavy."
I mean, is that a weird thing? Like at low speeds, is the car a heavy thing to drive, but at high speeds, does it kind of dance differently, or is it just how it works?
Yeah, it just how it works. She can be very forgiving when she wants to be, but then she can bite you in the ass as well. I think it's a lot like women, actually. But it's when I get her on the limit, she just seems to talk to me, and I feel comfortable, and I can seem to just whatever angle I get her on, I can just always pull her back. And I don't know, I just the way it just felt. I mean, and I don't know. People ask me about it, and I just say, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing a Sunday drive as far as I'm concerned.
So hopefully you can hopefully see that we're now at 262.
Yeah. I've got one of your cars in the garage, actually. I'm working on it.
Yeah, well, you got the Mini, haven't you? You've got the
the Mini,
the Mini. Yeah,
the London Clapping Mini. I'm doing the putting the sills on it for Baz.
Yes, yeah. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their plans are with that, but yeah, I remember you sent me a photo on Instagram of going. I've got one of your cars.
Yeah. He wants to run around London with it. Basically, he's going to leave the paint on it because the paint's actually quite hard on it. No, it's not running off in the rain. Oh wow!
There we are. Hopefully you can see that.
That's amazing.
There we are, sir.
That is amazing.
There we are. There.
That's brilliant.
There is your car, created as a big. So